Good morning. How you doing? Today I thought that it would be a good day to come on here in my quarantine outfit. I got my fur and I got my new style. See my new wig. Don't hate. But anyway, I was gonna take this time to kind of go over my Crohn's journey and how I found out and all that kind of stuff. So, and you like this beat, don't you? And if you hear growling, that's my poodle. You'll meet him one day. He is completely insane. I have a pit bull too. He's very nice and sweet, but the poodle, I think she sold him to me because something was wrong with him. But anyway, if you hear him in the background, just ignore him. He's taunting his furry brother. But anyway, so in August of 2018, I started having like stomach issues. Now I've always had like issues like with my stomach acid, like heartburn and stuff like that. So I was diagnosed with GERD a long time ago, and I thought that's all that was. So it was really no big deal. I just stayed away from Chick-fil-A lemonade and tomatoes. For some reason, those two things always set me off, and so I just stayed away from them. So it wasn't really a big deal. But August of 2018, I started having like a little stomach problem, and I thought it was like a stomach bug. You know what I'm saying? Like, you get those 24-hour bugs or 48-hour bugs. You don't feel good. You go into the bathroom, whatever, and then it's over. So it just so happened I was in training at that same time, and I was out of town, and so I was like, well, maybe the stress is kind of getting to me. So it was about a day before I left to go on the trip. The trip lasted for a week, so I was sick the whole time on the training. But it wasn't like I was sick. It was like sporadic runs to the bathroom. Like, oh, my stomach, I gotta go to the bathroom. And you go to the bathroom, no big deal. I was still eating. My stomach kind of felt bleh, but I thought again it was just this bug thing. But I really couldn't do anything about it because, again, I was out of town. So, again, the training was a week. And so I came back, and it seemed like it kind of got better a little bit, but I noticed that there was some, P.S. It can get graphic when I'm talking. So if you don't want to hear about bowel movements and blood and all that other kind of stuff, go ahead and click off now because this is not a video for you, okay? Okay. So I noticed that there was a little bit of blood in my stool, and I just chalked it up to I just been going to the bathroom a lot. I did have a hemorrhoid at the time, so maybe I was like, maybe my hemorrhoid is flaring up, whatever. Excuse me. And I really didn't pay it no mind because, again, my stomach, it wasn't like constantly upset or anything like that. It was basically like I just had a bug, still the same thing. So around the middle of September, it was right before the hurricane hit, Hurricane Michael. I was still sick, and I was going to the bathroom more frequently, and my stomach was starting to kind of feel not right. So I went to the doctor, and she told me that I had to do a stool sample. And again, it was still not really urgency. It was just like I still kind of had that 24-hour bug feeling, but it was just getting a little bit worse, and I was having more blood in my stool. And so I did that, and she also requested a colonoscopy. Well, remember I said about Hurricane Michael and his funky self. He came through and held up everything. So I didn't get my results back from the stool sample until that following Monday. Okay. And my test for whatever she was looking for, I can't remember what it was. It was something like something Farron. I can't remember. But anyway, it came back positive. So by this time, because like a couple more days had gone by, I started getting real like I just did not feel good at all. I got to the point where I was eating like real light and bland foods, like rice and potatoes and soups and teas and stuff like that, because I really didn't have like an appetite. Meat would make it worse, so I kind of was trying to stick to vegetables as well, like mixed vegetables, green beans, stuff like some of the softer stuff. And again, if you saw my previous video, I got a little bit of medical background, so I kind of was like, I'm gonna keep it light, and so I basically just took my knowledge and kind of just went from there. So the colonoscopy place called me back, and at this point my appetite was jacked, like I had started even to the point where when I would smell food, it would make my stomach upset. So I asked the doctor if they could prescribe me something different, because I didn't know if I was going to be able to actually drink they had prescribed I guess it's like the big gallon or whatever it was, and I was just like, I'm not going to be able to do that. Can y'all prescribe me something that's less, or something that's less invasive? She said she would have to ask. I was talking to the nurse. She said she'd have to ask the doctor, so I was waiting on the doctor to respond to me on that. That following weekend, I ended up going to the ER because I had started going to the bathroom over and over and over and over and over again, like every, I don't even know, probably like every 20 minutes or something. It was ridiculous. I was just going to the bathroom and I didn't feel good. I couldn't hardly sleep. My stomach was bloated. I had reduced my eating to nothing, basically. I had ate some rice, and I was drinking Pedialyte and water and broth and tea, and I actually went on a 3-day fast because I was like, maybe whatever it is, maybe something in there just needs to be flushed out. So I went on a fast, and that didn't help. It didn't do anything except for make me. It was almost like it was worse, but it was confusing because I was still going to the bathroom like frequently, like all day long, just going to the bathroom. As soon as I put something in my mouth, I'm going to the bathroom. It don't matter if it was food or liquid. Every time I put something in my mouth, I would go straight to the bathroom. So by this time when I went to the ER, I was just like, I was kind of over it. So they did a stool sample, and he told me that I had E. coli. And I was like, oh, great. I was like, so it's been like 2-3 weeks or whatever, and I had E. coli this whole time, but it didn't really sit right with me because E. coli is normally that 24 to 48 hour bug. And he said the same thing. He was like, normally it doesn't last this long, but sometimes it can be persistent, depending upon what you ate. And I was like, okay. So he gave me one of those Cillins, that fights off infections and stuff, and which I found out a little bit later after doing research. Remember, medical background. I was like, let me find out what this medication does, and all this other kind of stuff. So I always ask questions and this and the other one. Anyway, I was looking it up, and it was saying, because after I took the first dose, I felt horrible. I felt really bad, and they said that the medication does kill the E. coli, but when the E. coli dies, it pushes out a toxin. So remember, I told you I went to the ER on that weekend, and then that Monday I got my prescription. So that Tuesday I felt like crap, but I went to work. I was still going to work and everything this whole entire time. And so on that Tuesday, I was really feeling bad. I didn't even eat anything. I don't think I ate anything on Sunday or Monday. I was trying to drink liquids, but I was still, whether I ate or not, I was still going to the bathroom. Like I was just consuming stuff, but I really wasn't. It was just like I just kept going to the bathroom. My stomach started bloating. And Wednesday when I went to work, I was drinking water, and I was trying to drink Pedialyte, and I noticed that my stomach, it had swole up big, like, because I'm not a little girl, you know what I'm saying, but my stomach had swole up big, like I was about 8 months pregnant. And I asked my coworker, I said, oh my God, do you see my stomach? And it was like I was poking it. It was like it was a water balloon in there. And I was like, oh my God. I said, you know what? I said, I don't feel good. And I had started, like draining because I hadn't been eating. So it was just like, my body just kept kind of going down, down, down. So I was like, okay. So I told my supervisor, I said, you know what? I said, let me just, because I knew about the toxins from the medication, blah, blah, blah. And so I was like, let me just take the rest of the week off and then, finish my medication, because my medication was for the week. And I said, let me do that, and then I'll come back and I'll be fresh Monday. So I stayed home, still going to the bathroom. I was starting not to be able to sleep. I was still waiting on the doctor to call me about the colonoscopy, which they hadn't called me back. And I had left 2 messages, and they did not return my phone calls, which led to me saying, forget y'all, period. I don't want nothing from you. I even changed my PCP behind that because I thought it was very messy, and I just didn't like it. Well, anyway, so Saturday comes, and of course, medical background, I'm reading all this kind of stuff, and it says that if you have a fever, that you need to go to the ER. Well, I didn't even know I had a fever. I actually had gotten up to go use the bathroom yet again, and I noticed that I had a flush going across my face, and I said, I wonder if I have a fever. So I took my temperature, and my temperature was 101 point something. I can't remember. I think it was 101.8 or something like that. And I was like, dang. And I was like, well, it says go to the ER if you have a fever. So my husband was actually at work at the time. He had just left. He had literally just left. And sorry, that was my child here asking me for something. But he had literally just left. He hadn't been gone probably about 10-15 minutes, and I was just like, I gotta go to the ER because I got a fever, and they said that if I get a fever, going through this, that I need to go to the ER. So he came back. We went to the ER, and when I first got there, of course I was still feeling bad, but I wasn't like bad. But as I said it, because you know how ERs are. You know what I'm saying? It's not like you walk in there and you are seen. You have to wait for your turn. And I think we waited for like, I can't even remember, maybe like 5 hours or something. I think it was like 5 hours. It might have been longer than that now that I'm thinking about it. Anyway, we were there for a very long time. And as the hours ticked by, I just got worse and worse and worse. And it's not even like I was still going to the bathroom, but this was the feeling. This was like, I really just don't feel good. Like I was starting to get lethargic, and I just or tired, like really just weighed down, and I really did not feel good. So when they finally took me back, they asked about my symptoms. They saw that I had already been there, and they checked for E. coli or whatever. They said, well, we just want to take a CT to see what's going on in your stomach. So I was like, okay, fine. I didn't feel like it. I didn't want to get up. I didn't want to do anything. But I had to wait for them to do that. And while they were doing all that, let me tell y'all, I was going away from here. Because for me, I had told myself, I said, I don't know if I can do this. I was like, I don't think I can do this anymore. Not realizing that I was actually talking out loud. That's how far gone I was going. I was gone. And my husband, he was actually in there with me. He was like, babe, he said, you gotta fight. And so I was like, okay. So that gave me a little bit of motivation to, stay. Because I promise y'all, I think I was going to die. That's how bad it got. So they finally did the CT, and when they did the CT, like afterwards, I didn't see it at the time, but afterwards, it just looked like there was fog in my stomach. That's how much inflammation it was. It was just like my whole stomach was just inflamed. And so they were just like, we are admitting you now, and you're going to have a colonoscopy in the morning. So when they put me in the room, because by this time my stomach had started hurting, and I was nauseous, and I was just bad off. So they gave me bag because I was still testing positive for the E. coli. So they gave me a bag of antibiotics. They gave me pain meds, and they gave me something else. I can't remember what they gave me, but it was all IV, whatever it was. It was all IV stuff. Well, that morning, that following morning, I think I ended up getting to the room at about 1 a.m. on that, because I think I went to the ER on Saturday, and so at 1 a.m. on Sunday, I was admitted. 8 hours later, they took me into the room for my colonoscopy, and my colonoscopy is gross, and you can actually see, like, if I'm able, I'm new to this thing. If I'm able, I might try to insert some pictures, or if you really want to see them or something, you can inbox me and I'll let you see them, because they do not look good. Basically, when you go in, it's like I had 3 ulcers, and I had a lot of inflammation, and I had a lot of infection in my large intestine. So I don't know if you know anything about biology, but your large intestine kind of goes like a H, like a, well, kind of, let's see, like up, like that, right, across your stomach, and then your small intestines are kind of like just squiggled up, in there. So most of my damage was in my large intestine, and I had some like sporadically throughout my small intestine. So that's why when they looked at the CT, it was like fog, because the whole thing was basically completely inflamed. So all of that led to a 2-week stay in the hospital. And I remember, I don't know what happened. I don't know if it was a ulcer did something, or if it was just like the Crohn's itself, but it hurt so bad. Oh my God, y'all, I was sick. I didn't have any energy. I didn't want to get up for anything. I barely wanted to get up to go to the bathroom. That's how bad it was. It was just like every time I had to go to the bathroom, which again was still like every 15-20 minutes I was going to use the bathroom, and not pee pee. Nope. I was going to use the bathroom, and it was like waterfall back there. It was terrible, and it doesn't matter what I ate or what I drank. It would come out as soon as I ate. Sometimes I didn't even have to eat anything, and it was just like that, clockwork, all the time, all through the night, all day. And it was just like every time I felt my stomach, it was like somebody had put a knife in my stomach and just sliced it across, and then sliced it again, and then sliced it again. By the time I got to about that 3rd or 4th slice, if I wasn't in the bathroom, it would have been a wrap. You know what I'm saying? So that's how I found out I had Crohn's. Then while I was there, they ended up putting me on, sorry y'all, they ended up putting me on Remicade. And when they put me on the Remicade, that was 2 days before they released me. It made me itch. It made me itch all over. I was like, what in the world? They were just like, well, that's a side effect. They were like, people normally don't have it on their first time. So they gave me some Benadryl, and they were just like, that should help. And I was like, okay. So the next day, I did feel better. So the medication did work. I was still going to the bathroom frequently, and I was still on a soft diet. So I could eat chicken and fish, but no beef. I had to eat potatoes and green beans, and that was basically my food. Like literally chicken, green beans, and mashed potatoes. No dairy, basically nothing else. Everything was soft. I could barely eat applesauce. Applesauce upset my stomach. Any kind of red sauce upset my stomach. anything. It was just upset my stomach. So basically, I lived on chicken, mashed potatoes, and green beans for like the next I don't know how long, because that's all I could eat. And that brings us to today. Or no, let me back up. I had to go back and get my next infusion of Remicade, which was 6 weeks later, I think. Or maybe it was 2 weeks later. Was it 2 weeks later? I can't even remember now. I think it was 2 weeks later. But anyway, I went in anaphylactic shock. So basically, I was allergic to Remicade, and that was an experience in itself. She prepped me. She gave me the Benadryl, and I told her, I said, you know, I was itching before. Excuse me. And she said, that's not normal, but okay. So she gave me the Benadryl drip along with my Remicade infusion. I was on that Remicade infusion for maybe like 10 minutes, and I had kind of started dozing off. But in my mind, I was like, I don't think I'm breathing. And so I literally tried to breathe, and it felt like a truck or elephant, something was sitting on my chest, and I couldn't hardly breathe. I had just enough air to tell her something is wrong. And so she ran over and she stopped it, and she started flushing me with saline, and it was just like all hell broke loose in my body. It was like everything was itching. My ear, the inside of my ears was itching. My mouth was itching. My throat was itching. It was like underneath my skin was itching. My stomach was itching. The inside of my vagina was itching. My butt was itching. My feet were like literally everything in my body was itching. And then all of a sudden, that pain 10 times what I felt in the hospital started shooting through my stomach, just left and right, like something was in there trying to come out. Like, it was horrible. I thought I was going to throw up. And then she was just like, are you okay? And then all of a sudden I got that urgency again to go to the bathroom. And so she gave me my pole, because I was still hooked up to the saline. She gave me the pole, and I was in the bathroom for an hour. I was going to the bathroom every 5 minutes, like expelling every 5 minutes, to the point where I was in there so long to where my saline drip dried up, and the blood was going back into the tube. That's how long I was in there. And my stomach was hurting so bad, and she felt so bad, and I was like, well, it's not your fault, you know. I ended up being okay. I was very, very tired after everything had calmed down, and I ended up going home, and I had to wait 3 weeks. I think I had to wait 3 weeks before they could try me on a new medication, which they put me on Entyvio. Entyvio is another infusion. And it seems like as of now, it's been working okay. It took a while for it to kick in, you know, and it's been over a year. It was a year, October of 19, that I was released from the hospital. And I think I started my Entyvio, the first Entyvio, in February, if I'm not mistaken, February of 19. So it's been a year, and of course, you know, I still have my days, but for the most part, you know, I'm still sexy. You know, me and my wig and everything. You know, you just gotta do what you gotta do. You know, at first I was feeling really, you know, I don't know, pitiful, for lack of a better word. But I was like, you know, you can't be like that. You can't feel like that, because if you allow yourself to be sucked down into that rabbit hole, you'll get sucked into depression real bad. Because I went through a little small phase of depression where I didn't want to go nowhere. I didn't want to see nobody. I didn't want to talk to nobody. I didn't want to eat anything. I didn't, you know, I felt like a burden because my husband had to do a lot of stuff for me. And, you know, just, it was just a lot. And then I finally just picked myself up, and I said, you know what? I said, you can't act like that. You can't be like that. You know, this is not the end. You do feel better. You're not 100%, but that's that. And child, let me tell you what I did. I went and got on my motorcycle. That's a whole nother story. There's a whole nother story. I went and got on a motorcycle. So, but like I said, I have my days. You know, it's not easy. Every day is a new day. You know, some days I wake up and I'm fine, and half the day goes by and then I start feeling sick. Or sometimes I wake up and I feel sick. And, you know, some days I can go a whole day without feeling sick. I mean, it just depends, you know. It's just how my stomach is feeling, what I've eaten, and all kinds of stuff. You know, I have to take better care of myself because I have a lot of scar tissue, so my body doesn't absorb a lot of the nutrients through my food. So you know, I have to take a lot of vitamins and stuff like that, and I have to make sure, of course, I take my infusions and all that kind of stuff. And but I think that's about it, y'all. That was my Crohn's journey. And if you have questions, or if you want to know more about it, or if you want to know how I cope, or you want to know how I stay fabulous, you know what I'm saying, you can inbox me, or you can leave a comment below, or you know, whatever. And sorry for the background noise, the puppy and the work out there. But I guess I'll talk to y'all later. Bye, sugars.